Followed by I request distinguished chair, sir, to welcome our key speaker, Dr. Vishwajanini Sadgiri ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Professor Mahesh Vyas sir to welcome our Professor Dr. Asit Kumar Panja sir, Department of Samhita Siddhanta NA, with the green wealth and shawl. Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Professor Dr. Mahesh Vyas sir, Dean PhD and Head of Department of Samhita Siddhanta, to deliver welcome address. To kickstart this session, it is my great pleasure to introduce our first keynote speaker, Dr. Vishwajanini Sadgiri ma'am, Scientist H and Head of CSIR TKDL, who will present on the title Traditional Knowledge, Documentation, Information System and Protection. Now I would like to give a brief introduction about ma'am. Dr. Sadgiri ma'am is a Scientist H and Head of CSIR TKDL unit. The TKDL is a tool for defensive protection of Indian traditional knowledge currently pertaining to the Indian systems of medicine. She has also initiated steps for expanding the scope of TKDL, enlarging the information content as well as the user base of database. At CSIR, she was previously associated with the Planning and Performance Division and Research, Project Planning and Business Development Directorate. Herein, she handled matters pertaining to strategic planning, resource planning, monitoring and providing decision and policy insights. She represented CSIR in various interministerial meetings and forums. Prior to CSIR, she was associated with the New Drug Discovery Research at Ranbaxy Research Laboratories Limited and Smart Analysts Private Limited, working in the domains of pharmaceuticals and drugs. She holds a PhD from Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, with a postdoctoral experience at National Taiwan University, Taipei, and University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, USA. She has over 30 publications and 22 patent applications to her credit. She has led interdisciplinary teams in her various roles. Let's give a big round of applause for Dr. Vishwajanini Sadgiri ma'am. We are honored to have you, ma'am, here with us today. Over to you, ma'am. Please take the.
At the outset, I'd like to thank Professor Tanuja Nesri, Dr. Prajapati, Dr. Mahesh, all the organizers of Aroha, and Dr. Nilayat Achi for her wonderful introduction. Very warm welcome. Thank you so much for this opportunity. To me, it is almost like a homecoming. I was just telling Dr. Prajapati in the same hall, in the same floor. I had already delivered a talk on the TKDL in one of your CNE programs. And in the context of whatever we are looking today through the Aroha in terms of, talking about opportunities for holistic Ayurveda through technology, I'm sure this is the, topic for Ayurveda Day 2024 also. We can, kind of reflect upon how India had focused on traditional knowledge per se, especially in terms of its protection. And when we talk of protection, although much of Ayurveda, Siddha and all are documented already, in current context, do we understand what's been written by our forefathers? I think today's topic will talk about, that part of it, traditional knowledge documentation, the importance of information systems, the TKDL, and the protection of our traditional knowledge. Thanks once again, Dr. Prajapati, for this opportunity and the Aroha organizers for this wonderful invitation. So when we talk of traditional knowledge of India, I'm sure all of you are aware and appreciate the fact that our traditions and culture are rich and we're very, very proud of them. And we are very fortunate because while most of the traditional knowledge across the world is largely oral traditional knowledge, it is still being passed on from one generation to the other by mere word of mouth. In India, we've been fortunate because over the years, in the ancient times, much of it had already been codified. We have these palm leaf manuscripts, we have these metal sheets wherein it has been inscribed, we have rocks, we have the temple walls wherein the inscriptions have been made, and many other formats wherein the traditional knowledge had been codified in some format or the other. Perhaps we understand some of it, perhaps we do not understand a large part of it, but yet again the importance is that we understood the importance of recording our traditions and culture in some way where our future generations would get to know what happened in the earlier times. As things progressed, as development took place, paper was invented. Much of this codified traditional knowledge, what we talk of, manuscripts, all these palm leaf manuscripts and others, got printed in the form of books. The scripts were very important, and today we can now feel very proud that when we talk of Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Sovarikpa, much of this traditional knowledge is already codified. Even we have many books that talk about traditional agriculture, including Vriksha Ayurveda. We have books focused on metallurgy. Even your Rasayana Shastra is also part of all these codified forms of information. And the beauty of all of it is that when we talk of our traditional knowledge, it is largely based on the local resources, right? When even you talk of Ayurveda, there is a distinctness in the Kerala Ayurveda compared to the rest of it. And even when you talk of Ayurveda being practiced in the higher altitude regions, you may talk of the same plant, where the synonym but the species might be different. So that's the reason, you connect our traditional knowledge with the local resources. The local languages become important. So yet again, when we talk of traditional knowledge, the diversity of the languages, the practices bring in a unified form of value to our traditional knowledge. And why are we speaking about traditional knowledge in this particular forum? Because when we talk of traditional knowledge, while we talk about Ayurveda and the classical texts like Charak Samhita, Shastra Samhita, Ashtanga Hridayam and many more, there is still a large amount of information that is there in the manuscripts, and you have this huge collection of manuscripts in various libraries and even private collection. But do we have access to the information, and do we understand what is there in those manuscripts? And a large part of the answer is no, because we do not understand the script. We are in a very dire state because when we talk of manuscripts, it is important to recognize we need the subject experts, we need the language experts, and we need a manuscriptologist to decipher the information content in the manuscripts. And bringing the three together is indeed a challenge, because very often you do not have the right skills to read a manuscript. At most, what we are able to do is protect the manuscripts from decay, and that is what the National Mission for Manuscripts has been doing. Almost close to about 44 lakh of manuscripts they have digitized. But what is again of importance, even when we talk of very well established fields like Ayurveda is, I'll give you an example. In January 2007, an ancient palm leaf manuscript of Sushruta Samhita was discovered by Nepal. Okay, and it is believed that there is some content which is not already mentioned in the classical text, so what we call as classical text of Sushruta Samhita. So there is a lot of activity that is going on to decipher the information content in the newly discovered manuscript. So the importance of manuscripts become is still relevant, because we need to understand, are we capturing the right information when we talk of our traditional knowledge. And while we talk about this, the going by the traditional way of identifying manuscripts and deciphering the information the traditional way by bringing in the manuscriptologists, the subject experts and the language experts, the other aspect of it in today's digital world is reading the manuscripts, okay, by using all the digital ICT infrastructure. So I just give you one example of Vedavapi. It's an organization based in Bangalore. What they are trying to do is build an architecture, ICT architecture, wherein you are able to process the information content in manuscripts to understand what is the content in the manuscript, can be annotated to better understand. So when you talk of say Tantra Yukti and all that, you know that a particular terminology is applicable across various aspects in a particular text. Can we understand those by digital means? Okay, so this is what they are trying to do. They're collecting information, they are digitizing information, they are creating text out of those manuscripts, they are analyzing it, trying to infer information from that, and making sure that the inferred content is utilizable by all. And in fact, the beauty of it is that, for example, when you look at the site of Vedavapi, they look at content. Say you take the Vedas, okay, a particular word used in multiple aspects, okay, and perhaps may have a different meaning. Can we bring all the content together to kind of decipher, what exactly it means and in what context does it mean different? Okay, so this will kind of help not only the current generation but also the future generation to understand, when we look at manuscripts, okay, are we reading and deciphering the right information by the traditional way? And if we are going by through the digital world, are we able to make sense of those huge collections of manuscripts, which is otherwise not easy to do it manually? So these are the two aspects, very different from each other in terms of manuscripts. When we look at what kind of research can go into reading manuscripts. As I mentioned, the National Mission for Manuscripts under the Ministry of Culture in the country is doing a lot of work in terms of preserving the manuscripts. In fact, they have a huge collection of rare manuscripts, and they are doing a lot towards deciphering the information, transcribing the information content from these manuscripts, and then publishing books on that. So they have been able to document about 47 lakh manuscripts. They have created over 415 lakh folios of manuscripts. All this information in terms of a catalog is available on the National Mission for Manuscript. They have digitized 3.3 crore pages of manuscripts. 55 rare and unpublished manuscripts have been published, and they have a web-based national database of manuscripts containing almost 34 lakh manuscripts. Okay, so there's a lot of efforts going on in terms of our country's focus on preserving and promoting traditional knowledge. But the context in which I am here is to talk about how we look at these manuscripts or even traditional knowledge and document it in a format which is understandable and accessible to all. So when I talked about all these earlier aspects of manuscripts, very few, I think, even in this room would be able to pick up a manuscript leaf and then read it. Okay, and the problem is that if we do not understand the content of the manuscript, what meaning shall we make of it, and what will we infer from such information? Okay, and this is not just limited to only the manuscripts, even the current text. Okay, as a part of our educational curriculum, okay, of course there are always limitations in terms of time and many other factors, but we are prescribed only a certain number of texts which we read, understand, and we believe we have become masters by reading that academic curriculum. And very often, unless you are into the research aspect of it, you do not tend to go in to read more to understand what is the breadth of information that is available in any particular subject area. This is not limited only to traditional knowledge. Even in modern science, if I am interested in genomics, I will look, and perhaps genomics only in the context of neurological disorders, I would read only that much information, and the vast amount of information that is available is not either accessible to me, or I'm not interested in the subject matter. Okay, so considering all these limitations, it becomes important to know that can we at least look at a large content of content creation of our traditional knowledge, especially in the context of preventing misappropriation and biopiracy of traditional knowledge. Why am I talking of biopiracy and misappropriation? So I think many of you are very young. You might not even know that way back in the 90s, India faced a very difficult situation because very simple things like haldi for wound healing, basmati rice, which is our staple diet, neem for its fungicidal activity. Everything got patented in the US and Europe. Okay, and at that point of time, India did not recognize product patents. We recognized only process patents. And in this context, when you are granted a patent, you know that you are the owner of that particular invention. Okay, so you can play monopoly with it. You can reap commercial benefits out of it, but the context here is that you are the owner of that particular invention. Okay, so anybody else who wants to use that information will have to come seek your permission or license it from you before they exercise that invention. And here in this case, when we talk of haldi or basmati rice or even neem, this is something which is traditional knowledge, and much of it is already there in public domain, or it is in everyday practice. So when somebody becomes a new owner of that knowledge, what would one do? Okay, it's indeed a very difficult situation, and that is what happened to our country. So we had to fight this. Okay, somebody has taken illegal rights of our traditional knowledge, and the only way that one can fight this one is to go into a litigation, because when you talk of intellectual property rights, even patents are part of it. It is a legal provision given by the government. Okay, and if you had to fight a legal provision, the only way forward is to go into a litigation. So India fought this patent battle, and it took almost between 3 to 11 years to get either these patents revoked or get those patents amended to leave the traditional knowledge component out of it. So India realized that we need to do something to prevent such patents from being granted. And here the concern was that if we have to do something, we need to understand what is the reason, the root cause of all this issue. And we realized, while we boast of the diversity of our languages and the content of our traditional knowledge, but when we talk of intellectual property rights or even information for new R&D, this diversity is not so very helpful, because we do not know what is already known and what needs to be done. So we need to have information of our traditional knowledge on a platform wherein everybody, the R&D researchers and as well as the patent offices, the information is accessible and understandable. So that is what India realized, that we need to convert our traditional knowledge from the text, okay, into a format which is understandable by all. So this led to the birth of the traditional knowledge digital library. So when we talk of documentation, it is important to understand that everything that we do in our labs need to be documented in such a way that not only our current generation but also the future generation understands that. So the TKDL was set up in the year 2001 by the Government of India, the responsibility being handled by both the CSIR, that is Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and the Ministry of Ayush. At that point of time, it was the Department of Indian Systems of Medicine and Homeopathy. It was the first of its kind globally. It's a value-added prior art database of traditional knowledge linking to modern terminologies. When you talk of patents, there is a classification codes available. We created what is called the TKRCs, including Dr. Prajapati and many others from the Ministry of Ayush were actively involved in all of this work. And we drew concordance so that the structured information is also searchable and the information content is easily retrievable. So when you talk of today's aspects of machine learning and data mining and artificial intelligence, you try to pull up all the information and then normalize and standardize the information. Whereas when you talk of TKDL, which was set up way back in 2001, almost 23 years old, it is already structured, okay, and the uniformity is brought in by these TKRCs. The information content which is there in all different languages is brought to uniformity. It is made available in English and 4 other languages, French, German, Japanese and Spanish. This TKDL database, the content was made accessible only to patent offices based on non-disclosure agreements. 16 patent offices worldwide are using the database, and we also file what is called third-party observations and pre-grant oppositions to oppose any patent application that has any relevance to our traditional knowledge. While we did that, we also amended the Patent Act to introduce Section 3P, where no traditional knowledge can be patented in our country. So having this mechanism, it is important to understand when our patent offices reject patent applications, they need to understand what is traditional knowledge, and that is what the TKDL provides. It's a very complex mechanism for people who have worked in the TKDL, because you know how complex Ayurveda is, right? You know how complex Siddha is. You know how complex all the traditional systems of medicine is. Now you have to bring it into a format which is easily understandable by a layperson like me, coming from the modern science and technology. That is what we do. We engage the doctors of Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Sovarikpa and yoga experts. We also engage ICT experts, software, hardware. We have patent experts to understand the IPC concordance and other matters. And of course, botanists, taxonomists are very important when we talk of anything related to medicinal plants, related to these systems of medicine. And the diversity of all the languages are brought in to bring in the information, as I mentioned, in English and other languages. So it's a very structured database created so that if you put a particular word, the information content in terms of evidence related to any particular application is easily retrievable, and that is what is done. So in the context of today's platform, when you talk of manuscriptology, I talked about books that is there in different languages. And what do we do in terms of manuscripts? We don't do the work in the TKDL per se. I just give you an example from the Department of Ayurveda Medical Education from Kerala. In fact, even the councils here do that. They look at the manuscripts, identify the content, they transcribe the information from the manuscripts and publish books. We take it from there for the TKDL. Those books are accessed by the TKDL, and the information content is now brought it into a format under the TKDL, which is searchable and retrievable, and this information is thereby documented in a format which is conforming to our TKRC classifications and framework. So like whoever is aware of the intellectual property classifications related to the patents, you have this IPC classifications, there are sections, groups, and subgroups and many others. So we have brought a similar kind of a structure, and the beauty of all of this structural creating a hierarchical structure is to make sure that the content is again easily searchable and retrievable. So to just kind of give you an example, what I mean by the TKRCs is, if you look at Ashwagandha and you look at all the different classes, okay, and sections, first is the Ayurveda. The class would be pharmaceutical preparation. The subclass would be based on plants because it is based on Withania somnifera. The group would be a whole medicinal plant. The subgroup would be Withania somnifera. When you talk of patent classification, it just is restricted to plant based. Okay, so the TKRCs bring in greater granularity in the information content when we talk about our traditional knowledge. So what is TKDL all about? It's a value added prior art database which provides information on our traditional knowledge in a format that is understandable by all. When I say understandable by all, including scientists from the modern science background, I don't need to be an Ayurveda expert to understand the content. So what we do is, if I take the shloka of Gudichi Kwat from Ayurveda and I translate or transliterate that, all you would get is that whatever I have included in that yellow box, it will tell you the ingredients that I used in its synonyms, okay, and it will tell for what it has been used. If I simply translate or transliterate this information and give it to patent offices, I'm sure nobody would understand, because I would not know what is Lagu Panchamula, Chandanam. I need to know it in the botanical name, okay, or the common name, which is easily understandable by everybody. So that is what we do in the TKDL database. We identify the botanical names to the species level. We also identify which part of the plant is used, if it is a polyherbal formulation, how much of that part of that particular plant is used in that formulation, how is the formulation prepared, so the process is defined. Then we mention about which format the medicine is given. It could be a churna, it could be any other format. Then we also mention, in case there is any dietary regimen specified, it could be patya or apatya, we mention all those aspects also. We then inform why that particular formulation is used for what that particular formulation is used. In this particular case, it is smallpox. and this is how the information is provided, and as per all the international regulations on prior art information, we have to provide the bibliography, and that is what we mentioned. So this is how the TKDL provides a value added information. So this is a classical example of information system that has been created for the first time on traditional knowledge, and India leads its efforts in this particular aspects, and this serves as a exemplary case even for the World Intellectual Property Organization. So today I can very proudly say that the TKDL is having almost close to 500,000 entries of formulations in the TKDL database across all the different systems of medicine from the country, and also the yoga practices. And as per our primary objective, that is to prevent patents from being granted on traditional knowledge, we have been very successful. While we file a lot of oppositions on patent applications having relevance to our traditional knowledge, we have been successful in 353 cases, because it takes a lot of time between us filing this in opposition and the actual verdict coming from the patent offices. So when I say positive outcomes, it could be either the patent application is rejected, or it is amended to leave the traditional knowledge component out of it, or based on the TKDL evidences given to the particular applicant by the patent offices, the applicant decides either to withdraw the application or abandon the application. So these are all considered as positive outcomes. And when I talk of 353 cases, it means a lot for the country, because when you look at litigation, it costs a lot of money. Just in the case of basmati rice, we spent almost 7.2 crores in the late 90s as only litigation fees. So when you multiply that into 353, it's a huge saving for the country, and of course time, because you don't have to go into the very laborious litigation process. So this is what TKDL is all about, and in the context of the way we've been doing work, the National IPR policy has recommended that we include other areas. We are now actively looking at agriculture and metallurgy. Of course, the access will soon be provided to all the R&D organizations, because we have got the cabinet approval for that, perhaps another couple of months more. We are also looking into documenting oral traditional knowledge. So when you talk of other fields, manuscripts is also going to be very important. We have an MOU with the National Mission for Manuscripts also, but unless the information is already transcribed into a book format, for the TKDL it would be very difficult. So any help from any of the councils or the institutes related to Ayush, if in case you can work on it, you would be able to enrich the TKDL database into preventing misappropriation and biopiracy of our Indian traditional knowledge. Thank you so much for your active listening. Thank you. Should I take questions? Yeah, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Any queries, any questions, especially from the students?
Now the session is open for questions. Please, you can ask your questions.
So I think I'm just lucky. Nobody wants to ask anything. All right, I would. Thank you. I once again thank the participants in Aroha for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your enlightening presentation. Ma'am, thank you very much. You have explained the importance of decoding transcription and textual development of the manuscripts, and about the National Mission manuscripts also well explained, ma'am. Thank you very much. And also importance of preventing the misappropriation and biopiracy of traditional knowledge, and the birth of the TKDL, and also how to retrieve the contents and understand the contents. Everything well explained, ma'am. Thank you very much for your insightful presentation. Now we will move on to the second speaker. Following this, we will hear from Professor Dr. Asit Kumar Panjasa, Department of Samhita and Siddhanta, National Institute of Ayurveda, who will address on the topic Research in Ayurveda Manuscriptology, Domains and Scopes. It's my pleasure to introduce Panjasa. He is an esteemed expert in Ayurveda with over 2 decades of impactful contributions nationally and internationally. Currently Professor in Department of Samhita and Maulik Siddhanta at National Institute of Ayurveda, Jaipur. Oversees the Ayurveda Manuscript Department recognized by the Ministry of Ayush. Additionally, he leads the efforts in revitalizing the folklore and local health traditions and has consulted at World Health Organization headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. Dr. Panjasa academic journey began with a bachelor's in Ayurvedic medicine and surgery, followed by diploma in yoga and naturopathy. He pursued a doctorate in Ayurvedic medicine, specializing in Samhita, and later earned a PhD in Ayurveda with over 2 decades of clinical experience. He is a respected practitioner and researcher. His scholarly outputs includes over 150 articles in national and peer-reviewed journals, along with 20 authored books, 24 e-books, and 6 edited manuscripts. He has supervised numerous MD and PhD students and delivered over 135 guest lectures. Recognized for his contributions, he has received prestigious awards including Swami Lakshmi Ram Memorial Award and Young Scientist Award from Ministry of Ayush. Beyond academia, Dr. Panjasa involved in projects such as WHO Terminology Project and digitalization of Ayurveda manuscripts. He serves as editor for prestigious journals including Ayu Journal of Ayurveda Case Reports, International Journal of Ayurveda and Traditional Medicine, and Ayurveda Line. Dr. Asit Kumar Panjasa's multifaceted career exemplifies his unwavering dedication to Ayurveda. His leadership, scholarship, and commitment to the traditional knowledge system mark him as a distinguished figure in the field. We are honored to have you, sir, here today. Over to you, sir.
Om. First of all, I would like to bow down the lotus feet of Lord Dhanvantari for blessings and respect to all the authors who have contributed to enrich the Ayurveda, right from the Lord Brahma to the recent authors also. Without them, we are useless. And today, Madam has explored everything, the other aspects, and I will just explore 2 different things. One is to give you impetus. In Hindi, you can say I can invade the Josh within you, so that you will jump on the domain of Ayurveda and do something for Ayurveda, because the ancestor has given so many enriched tradition to us, and we are now not in that much in depth to explore, or not in that much intention to explore those things. So it is my humble request to involve in the Ayurveda manuscript research. And next one is I will discuss only certain domain of Ayurveda research, especially on Ayurveda manuscriptology. Coming to the what is actually manuscripts, as Madam already discussed about the National Manuscript Mission works and their digitalized manuscript like 450 pages. But as per the data available, it says about 5 million manuscript reserve in India, which is documented. And I will also focus on a certain area where we have conducted some research on one district of Rajasthan, where it is found that in institutional collections, the manuscript bulk is 20% and personal collection is 80%. So what is documented, that is the peak of iceberg. What we are telling about, this is 20 million, 5 million, this is already documented, which is kept under certain supervision or any library or any government institution. But in private collections, you will get at least 10 manuscripts in each and every Brahmin family within the oval city of Jaipur, you will get 10 manuscripts. So that is the data. So if we try, we can get manuscript from every temple, every church, maybe every other religious institution also. So that should be, we should make a drive to grab this. Otherwise, institutional wealth we can explore later on, we can carry out study later on, but these private belongings we are losing day by day. So that is an appeal before going to the presentation. This is an appeal to each and everyone to work on this and deposit all the manuscript to your nearby Ayurveda college, so that this Apex Institute can get this manuscript from those individual college. So what is actually manuscriptology? Now manuscriptology related to Ayurveda is actually, it is the study of scientific explorations of the past in the purview of present knowledge for the future exploration. In Ayurveda says the knowledge should be validated for 3 column. It is says 3 column. So here the scientific exploration of the past. So we are taking the knowledge from the past and we are analyzing those knowledge in the purview of present understanding. And why we are analyzing this? Now this is for the future exploration. So we are involving 3 point of period of time. So that is the actual justification of knowledge. If the knowledge is not justified in purview of 3 colors, it will not be considered as persistent knowledge. Then it deals with the manuscript identifications, manuscript cataloging, preservation condition, and up to the publications. Then each and every Ayurveda manuscript has a huge number of domains which are inbuilt within the manuscripts. It incorporates the Vyakarana, the Chanda, the philosophy, geography, history, civics knowledge, up-to-date field work, environmental science and social science, and most important was the clinical medicines. So if we study the manuscript, we will develop the knowledge of all round sciences. It improves the general and intellectual status of the research scholars and give impetus towards the totality of Ayurveda wisdom. What we are reading, that is the actually knowledge. When knowledge enlarge in the mind and opt for the action, it is considered as wisdom. So the knowledge without transforming the wisdom is a useless distinction. So we must transform the knowledge to the wisdom level, and for that we require to practice. Madam told that we have to restore it in terms of practice, not to restore in form of CD, not in form of other format. We should make it sustainable for the other future generation, for practice. So in the current status in 2023, more than 1,40,000, now it is available 1,44,000 Ayurveda manuscript identified by the National Manuscript Mission portal, and about 25,000 titles are still unexplored. Means in their website it is mentioned that Ayurveda manuscript, there is no name, no author, no other information. This is related to Ayurveda. And if you go to that library, you read those, you will find this is a Chakrabani Tika. So this is not even identified. They have mentioned this is the Ayurveda manuscript, but 25,000 title among the 1,40,000. 25,000 is still unexplored. And more than 10 lakhs are to be catalogued according to their research data. And near about 40% of the mainstream Ayurveda literature are yet to come. You know, each and every Samhita has their technical book. It is called Nighuntus. In Charak Samhita must have a technical Nighuntus, but it is not available now. And whether the Aragvada used in Charak Samhita, that is the Aragvada what is used as a Cassia fistula, is it the same? Or it is taken from the Nighuntu text? There is no physical morphological description written in Charak Samhita. In entire Charak Samhita, total number of 11 drugs whose morphological description are written. But other morphologically, which was not described, we are taking from the Niguntu text. So that is Niguntu from whether it is Bhaprakash Niguntu or whether it is other Niguntu. But that is not pertaining to that text. But according to Vedic knowledge, it says each and every original text has its own Niguntu. Like Ashtangridaya Niguntu for the Ashtangridaya, that Bhaprakash Niguntu for the Bhaprakash text. Okay, so these are the mainstreaming work, and the works on Ashtanga is also not available now. Vala text, text on the Vishwavidya, text on the Rasayan text are not available. So 40% of the mainstreaming Ayurveda literature are not yet come into limelight. Another is 50% of allied and contemporary Ayurveda manuscripts are unexplored. Contemporary Ayurveda manuscript means to develop one medical science, certain supporting science play into role and make that the used to support those medical science to explore in a proper manner. So that supporting texts are called the allied text or contemporary text. Like in Ayurveda, there is a concept that like Karmaja Vyadhi, and in entire Samhita you will get only 2 sloka for the Karmaja. But there are certain texts where detailing of the Karmaja Vyadhi is written. In Ashtangridaya it says Karmaja Karmak Sankshayat and Karmaja Hetur Bhirvina. Only 2 references are there. But there is a text called Janma Marana Vichar or Sata Tapa Karma Vipak or Bharadvajya Karma Vipak. So there are Karma Vipak texts where you will get due to which karma, which disease is manifested and what is the remedy of that specific karma. If you do certain karma in the Purva Janma, that will lead to the Manjishtamaya in the next life. So that allied text, 50% of the allied texts are not mentioned. Nyaya Prayoga Samuchaya like that. And grossly 50% of the super speciality Ayurveda text are not published yet. Like Bandhana Malati, like Agni Karma Prakash. In Susruta you will get 22 verses for Bandhana Karma. Only this bandaging karma, only 22 verses gross. And in Bandhan Malati text 700 verses are there, and that text, it is supposed that it is written in 15th century. So after composition of Susrut in 1500 BCE, these research were conducted and they have developed the entire domain of research, and they documented this research in the form of manuscript. So if we collect those manuscripts and if we publish, so we can save the research, time of the research and money also. So this is the data and National Manuscript Mission portal data. The Andhra Pradesh has these much manuscripts. This is the Ayurveda manuscript, not the other manuscript. And you see the Kerala has 62,402 and Odisha has 25,569. Every day it is going up, going down. Every day. Some 1 month back in Odisha it was 26,600. Now it is 1,000 less. So previously, when I prepared the PPT some 6 months back, it was 1,40,000 manuscript. Now it is yesterday's data. It is 1,28,456 manuscript is there, according to National Manuscript Mission data. So what I want to say, this is for your appeal, for appeal to you that you must involve in this. Only one presentation, only one seminar is not enough to enrich the science. Okay, there is some important books like Anga Upanishad, where the developmental embryological data is given, like Rajendra Kosh one Niguntu, which is very, very important and which is composed in the then Bengal, means Bengal, Odisha and Bihar, and it consisted of 16 chapters and near about 5,000 verse, and it contains guna and indication of each and every plant, parts of the plant, like Nimba Patra, Nimba Mula, Nimba Pushpa, Nimba Phala, the guna and the karma also, and the indication, disease indication also. And then he has written, Ato Puranasya Nimbapatrasya Guna, Samvatsaratitasya Nimbapatrasya Guna. The Nimbapatra which is 1 year old, and Nimbapatra which is dried. He has written the guna of that also. And that research were already conducted. We are doing that research now. We can involve in other research now. So that, and then Panchamahodadi, which is a research on the Panchamahabhut, or there are so many texts. So what I want to say, that there are ample number of texts we should research. And the current activity, the National Manuscript Mission is doing only conservation, preservation and cataloging. That is enough for us. We people should come up and do work on that. And CCRH, National Institute of Indian Medical Heritage, Hyderabad, they are doing major works now. And teaching institutional, all teaching institutional, like NIA, ITRA, Hassan, Patanjali, and Aya also now doing research on manuscript, taking PG and PhD research on manuscriptology. That is a blessings for the fraternity and blessing for the other institute. And some other institution like DST and Human Resources Development, IIT, Chemistry, they are doing research, but they are not getting proper Ayurveda expert. That is also an appeal. Because if we people are not expert, competent, as Madam told, we require the competent person to decipher. So we should produce the competent person to tie up with other institutions who are working on in that field, so that one outcome will come up. Otherwise, there will be no proper research. It should be an important career. For the students, I have prepared this slide. You don't think that it is not for you. It should be an important career. Before 2009, there was no discussion on manuscriptology. Now in the UG, PG and PhD syllabus, there is a chapter for the Ayurveda manuscriptology. So time is coming up. So it is contribution to the science and establishment of the advancement of the science. There are so many research conducted in that period. If we establish, as Madam told, then we can prevent some piracy also. And if we work on the Ayurveda manuscriptology, you will be master on the textual authority. And it will also give you confidence to the respective field and practice also. Now, why this is the need of the hour? What is the need of studying medical manuscripts? To find out the continuity of the research in healthcare system. It is not like that research is being conducted now. It was not like that. It was conducted. In between there was no research. Every day Ayurveda says, "Na kadachit abhuta Ayurvedasya santanam buddhi santanam va." This tradition of knowledge, buddhi santanam, the tradition of research is continuing in its own manner. We have to establish, find out the continuity of the research in each and every healthcare system, to explore the transmission of knowledge and sequential and the sequences of research on that particular knowledge, how this has developed, what are the phases they have countered. Then to explore the already conducted research in various domains that I have discussed, and to identify the incorporation of prevailing concepts, research, techniques, plants, diseases within the domain of methodology. Like after contributing each and every era, every research fellow in Ayurveda, they have incorporated so many diseases within the domain, they have incorporated so many plants, and they have incorporated some new indication of the already existed plant, new preparation of the previous Chavanprasa. So these are research. They have conducted and they have documented. That you have to explore. And to avoid the repetition of research, that is the most important, to conduct further clinical trial on those evaluation for the current acceptability. We have to conduct the research nowadays. And first, what we should do? First, we should do the survey and mapping. Then collection from the individual sources to prevent the losses. We are facing this point every day. Some 2 months back, we contacted some temple. They agreed to give manuscript. After 2 months, the governing body changes. They are now refusing. They have some lost some manuscripts. So this everything we are facing the loss. That is why collection from the individual sources is mandatory. Then prevention, cataloging and digitalization of all sources. To prepare a comprehensive data bank, we are doing CCRS already established one portal that is called Amar portal, and National Institute of Ayurveda, they have developed on ayushmss.com, and then the translation and publication, this is needed for national use. First we are preserving, then we should disseminate this knowledge for the national interest and national use. Then conduct further research and clinical trials, that is a continuous process. And these are the domains. Coming to the second point, these are what are the domains? Domains are the Ashtanga Ayurveda domains. This is another one point of research. Another is exploration of Samhita period. So many texts are composed, like in Charaka period, you know that there are 6 fellow students of the Agnivesha, but we only get one manuscript, that is Agnivesha Tantra. Harit, which is available now, this is not the Harit of that period. This is Harit Uttar Samhita, that is written in 15th century. That is not that Harit. And Bhela Samrita, which are available now, that is also a text of 6th century. This is not a text of 1500 BC text. So there are so many texts which we require to explore. Then study of the commentaries, then exploration of Rasa text. That is altogether a great huge domain. We are not touching the Rasa text, because to explore the Rasa text needs expertization and clinical competence or industrial knowledge. Otherwise we are not able to decipher actual meaning. Always we do mistake in deciphering Rasa text. Then Niguntu, allied text, super speciality text, and the recent work of 19th and 20th century. Exploration of Samhita. These are the domain of Samhita text. Now, in Charak Samhita, it has 3 different recensions mentioned in the Charak. That there are one Charak Samhita in northern part of India, that is Chakrapani says Kashmira Patha. Kashmira Charak Samhita is different. One is prevailing in the middle part of the India, and another Charak Samhita was prevailing in the southern part, that Bhattar Harichandra says in a Ingit Kalpana, it says Karnatha Pathat Prasiddhyam. So there is a Karnat part of Charak Samhita. So it has 3 different recensions, the different versions. Now what is now available, one is medieval one, means the which were prevalent in the middle part of India. So we need to research on all the 3. Maybe there are more. Then we should come up with a final Charak Samhita. This is the Charak Samhita. So this is different recensions and different variant of the different parts of the world. Then we require the parts of the process. That is altogether a very difficult work. I will show that parts of the process. Then critical edition of the Samhita with multiple manuscripts. Then clinical trial should be needed. These are the domain of Samhita period, Samhita text. If we work on Samhita text, we should work on these 5 domains. Each and every domain require at least 5 to 10 years research. Study and commentaries. We are reading the commentaries in a scattered manner. See, in Charak Samhita, Bhattar Harichandra, up to the Mullenbend says there are 40 different commentators mentioned in for Charak Samhita. But among the 40, we get only 9. Among the 9, only 2 are complete. Other all are scattered. And Susruta Samhita has 10 commentaries, only 3 are available. Ashtangrita has 30 commentary, 12 are available. So there are huge domain on which we can work to explore the Ayurveda manuscripts, especially on commentaries. Then we require comparative study, then chronological development of thoughts. Actually, commentator makes the bridge between the text and the time. If text is written in 15th century BC, now we are reading the text, so So there is a gap of 3,500 years. It is the duty of the commentator to make a bridge to fill the gap between the reader and and the text. So each and every commentator has his different view point according to their own era. So that gives you a light how the science developed in the different era. And on the basis of that development, we can draw a picture of the historical development of the science, or scientific development of the history, you can say. It is a scientific development of the history. Okay. Next, the rasa text that I am just mentioning, sir is there. Survey and exploration is needed. It is documented that less than 40% rasa texts are available and found in different sannyasis. Each and every sannyasi, whatsoever their grade, maybe from the village dweller to the big sannyasi, though there is no clinical difference, but they demanded that I have my own rasa text. I prepare some Rajat Bhasma, I prepare some Sarna Bhasma. They used to practice also. So that we have to collect. Then we require the deciphering, then decoding the advancement of pharmaceutical process, and each and every tradition develop their own pharmacological procedures to enhance one kind of exploration in particular area, like someone preparing Rajat from Banga, someone preparing some Swarna preparation, or some used to give some medicines for certain disease. They adopted different procedure apart from the classical text. So these pharmaceutical advancements should be recorded. The deciding the new methods, then illustration process should be required, and that should be made for the industrial purpose. Then documentation of simplification used in day-to-day practice. Some scholar, they have developed Rasa Shastra according to the Samhita also. Recent text in 19th century, 20th century, some followers in Bengal in 19th century, they have developed, they have written some works that we should prepare Rasa Aushadhi, and we should give the Rasa Aushadhi according to the classical principles, because it is saying that Rasa Vaidya, they used to practice according to their own methodology. They do not follow the Samhita principles. But some Rasa Shastri, they develop these principles and they decode this principle. That is why there is a parampara in Bengal which is called Suddha Rasavaidya Parampara. They practice entire Ayurveda with only Rasaushadhi. They used to do Bhamana with Rasaushadhi, used to do Virechana with Rasaushadhi, and each and every with the metal preparation only. They do not use any herbal preparation. There was some Vaidya. So that should be explored. Then Nigantu text. Nigantu, there are so many Nigantus. As time is not permitting, I am not exploring this in a detailed manner, that it is require Nigantu of exploration of the Samhita Grantha. Then deciphering is needed. Then research on incorporation of drug over the period of time. That is very, very important. We see that the Chopchini was added by Bhaprakash. It says that it is Bhaprakash, though in the previous 15th century also some text where Chopchini were added. Two varieties of Chopchini were added. Madhura Chopchini and Tikta Chopchini were added in a text of 15th century. So that the incorporation of drug over the time, that also documented. Then some pharmacological classification also documented. In Charaka, classification is according to the pharmacology. That is why the Dasavidha, there 50 Mahakasai, 50 Mahakasai is written. In Susruta according to the Gana, Bhagavata according to the Gana. But if you see the Siddhamantra Nigantu of Kesava, you will see Vata Sangsamana Varga, Pitta Sangsamana Varga, Kapha Sangsamana Varga, Pitta Hara Kapha Udasin Varga, Vatala Varga, Pitta Madhya Kapha Udasin Varga, like that. That is clinical classification that is needed for development of the science. That is pharmacological classifications. Then new varieties, new indications of already existed drug, research on parts of medicines. In the previous segment, someone was discussing on the central ascitica in the previous session. But parts of the central ascitica he mentioned then Panchanga, but in a commentary, English commentary, and after that someone Bengali Vaidya has written in Bengali commentary on Atharva Pratishakhya, he mentioned that root of the central ascitica, that is Mandukparni, is also used for Bandhatva. So that parts of use, works on parts of use were also documented. We need to explore that text and make it public. Now I just want to focus on certain work, what we have conducted in NI. That these are the work. First one, we have started Patasuddhi process of Madhav Nidan. It takes 2009 to 2014. Then exploration of Pathaveda and Charak Samhita, it takes near about 12 years. Or Patasuddhi process of one text. Then trials on Mushti Yog, 9 years. The trials on Makaradhaj, we have conducted for 7 years. We have collected this information all from the manuscript, then we have done the clinical trial. Okay. See, this is the research on Mushti Yoga. We collected 16 manuscripts from different times between 19th century to 20th century, compiled 8,000 yoga formulas. Then we identify 1,500 effective formulas on 65 diseases. Then we conducted clinical trial on 600 formula on the OPD basis. Then we started clinical trial on 2009 March up to March 2018, 10 years. Then we have given on 13,960 patients, 20 patients for each formula. Then we have published this. This is the actually collected from the manuscripts. Then research on Anupanam Makaradhaja. We collected 4 manuscripts, all are from the Gopal Krishna Bhatta Parampara of Bengal. We have collected 1 manuscript from the Dinajpur, another is from the Noakhali, Bangladesh, and 2 from library. And we compiled data on 116 diseases conditions where Makaradhaj were used. 116 conditions. And started clinical trial on December 2008, and it continues up to 2014, 6 years. And we have given on 1196 patients, given on 52 diseases conditions, and found better clinical outcome than common use with honey or milk. What we get? And this is the actual conducted research data. That is Agnimanda, what is the Anupan given? Amlapitta, what is the Anupan given? This is the data collected from the manuscripts. So just I want to say that whatever clinical trial you are doing, that already they have conducted. If we publish, then that will reduce the cost and time, save the time. And another is in the Bengal, there are so many traditions. Okay, so many traditions. We collected the data of 2,000 short books and 100 articles, 120 articles. We collect that there are 7 different parampara prevailing, and that all related to the traditional knowledge. Parampara means traditions. One is Shastriya Parampara, and the source material is diaries of the scholars, review of Acharya Gangadhar, etc. And in Shastriya Parampara, they used to diagnose through the classical text. Their thought process mainly on Charak Sushrut, and their treatment module was classical. That is the Shastriya Parampara. Another Parampara was prevailing, that is Chakradatta Parampara, which diagnostic through the Madhav Nidan. They used to diagnose through Madhav Nidan. Their thought process was mainly on Chakradatta, and the treatment modules was only Chakradatta. And source material, huge text, Medici and their articles, which is documented in the form of manuscripts. And I have written also some name of the scholar, not going to detail. Then another is Suddha Rasavaidya Parampara. Sir. This is very, very important parampara. They used to diagnose on Madhav Nidan. Their thought process was assessment on the Dosavastha and Dushti Sthiti. They used to assess only 2 things. One is Dosavastha, another is Dushti Sthiti. And their treatment is only Rasausari for both Samana and Sodhan process. And source material mainly their main text was Rasandra Sar Sangra, then dozen of interpretations shortly made easy manuscripts. I can give one example like Pandu Rog. They have mentioned 7 different formulas of Pandu. One is for Vishajanna Pandu, they used Tamra Bhasma. For Onulam Kshayajanna Pandu, they have used Loha Bhasma. Pratilam Kshayajanna Pandu, they have used Sarna Bhasma. If Avaranjanna Pandu, they have used Makshika. If it is Malasanchajanna Pandu, they have used Mandura. So they have used different conditions of the Pandu, not as per the classical classification like Bataja, Pittaja, Kaphaja, Pandu, as per the causes. Okay. So next one is Tantric Parampara. That is also another parampara. They are a source material. So they used to practice in a different manner. That is also a traditional practice. There are huge text. More than 40 different manuscripts we have on Tantric Parampara. In our collections, maybe in the other collection there may be thousands. I don't know. We have 40 different collections on Tantric Parampara. Then another is Vaishyaja Ratnabali Parampara, where their main text was Bhavaprakash and Chakradatta. Then Vaidyagini Parampara, that is a traditional healer who are wives, the mothers of the house, old mothers, grandmothers, they used to do certain level of practice. And there is also another tradition. We have certain books and manuscripts available. And they used to do Lakshananusar Chikitsa. And last one is Pachana Parampara, where they used to give only Pachana Aushadhi. With this, I want to conclude. I want to share that these are the domain of Ayurveda manuscripts. And what we are doing, that is, I think, less than 1%, 99% things to be done. And I appeal once again with humble request to all of you to come, join. It is a national endeavor, and we should stand with the science. Thank you very much. Okay.
Dr. Gautam.
Okay. You. One thing is your first question is 30 formula is valuable or not. Each and every line is valuable for us. Okay. So you first please collect and you deposit. Either you should contact us or you can contact the CCRS Hyderabad or you can contact any other institution. CCRS Hyderabad, National Institute of Indian Medical Heritage, or you can contact us also. We have government rules. We will provide the protocol, how to communicate, how to get permission, and how to collect, and how you will provide acknowledgement to them with certificate and everything.
Okay.
This is a national treasure. You just keep it properly and you communicate.
Okay.
That will be a boom for us.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening presentation. Sir has explained very well the current status of the manuscripts and need of mainstreaming the various Ayurveda literature which need to be come into the light, and also explained about various involvement of the all each and everyone to bring the science to the national use. It was a very enlightening presentation, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now it's time for the presentation for the scholars from various part of our country. For each participant, we may give 5 minutes time, which be allotted, followed by 1 minute grace period, within which all are requested to complete the presentation. With the permission of the chair, with the permission of the chair, first I welcome Dr. Anita Chaudhary for her presentation.
Shall I start? Good afternoon, respected dignitaries. Myself, Dr. Anita, PhD scholar, and today's my topic is Unveiling the Wisdom of Kapinjal Samhita, a critical exploration guided by Professor Mahesh Vyas sir. The framework of this manuscript revolves around Nadi or pulse. Nadi Pariksha is an important component of Ashtaveda Pariksha, the diagnostic method mentioned in Ayurveda. The study focuses on critical review of Kapinjal Samhita, which will help to enhance diagnostic accuracy and provide an aid for more effective treatment by advancing knowledge in this ancient practice. This study is based on a handwritten Sanskrit manuscript scribed by Janmasankar Shukla and catalogued as MSS number 39, currently preserved in Jamnagar. As this manuscript is not divided into chapters, it can be organized into the following categories for better clarity and view. It's a paper manuscripts written in Devanagari script and start with salutation to Lord Ganesh, Ambika and Dhanvantri. And in this manuscript, Lok Purush Samya Siddhant, Nidarshan Tantra Yukti have been described it. Acharya has explained the method of pulse examination in very detailed way and has also suggested to carefully examine nadi in hand or foot by leaving one finger from the ankle or thumb, and first finger denote vataj dosh and second finger denote pittaj dosh and third finger is denote kapha dosh. And also explain the pulse can be examined at various locations including hand, leg, knee, forehead, throat, glabella and brahmarandra, and pulse should not be examined in certain conditions like just after bathing, eating or having meal of oil or ghee, and who are hungry, thirsty or feeling sleepy. Pulse movement according to time are also mentioned in this manuscript. At midday, pulse moves according to the kapha dosh. At afternoon, pulse moves according to the vata dosh, and at midnight, pulse moves according to the pitta dosh. If a person consumes dry food constantly, then the movement of pulse is vatas, and if a person consumes cold food constantly, winter season, and taking cold shower daily, then pulse moves calm. In Vata dosh, the pulse resembles the trembling of Ashwatha tree when blown off the wind, and in a Pitta dosh condition, the pulse moves like the gentle swaying of the mango tree leaves in a normal breeze. In a Kapha dosh, the pulse moves like a slow, steady movement of a banana leaf. In Unmada condition, the pulse becomes turbulent and erratic, and in Sanipada's fever, the pulse moves swiftly akin to the rapid movement of a deer among its group. In this text, certain pathological conditions have been described it, which can be diagnosed through pulse examination, like invitiated Vat, pulse moves, leech and snake-like, and Vatrakta condition, pulse movement is Mand and Suksh, etc. And this text describes different type of Vayus called as Dash Vayu Pravahaka. These Vayu regulate key physiological functions and their balance is mirrored in pulse. By assessing pulse movement, practitioners can gain insights into the state of these Vayu, making pulse diagnosis vital tool in identifying imbalances. The state of the energy channels indicating the balance of vital energy in the body is been indicated in this text. Nadi governs specific physiological functions and changes in the pulse can be revealed imbalance in these channels, guiding practitioners in diagnosis and treatment. And in future scope in this Nadi Pariksha in the research and validation in personalized medicines, in training and educations, and overall the future of Nadi Pariksha lies in its potential to enhance health diagnosis and treatment while bridging the gap between ancient wisdom and modern science. The exploration of Kapinjal Samhita reveals the profound relevance of Nadi Pariksha in maintaining health and diagnosis disease. This text highlights how Nadi Pariksha serves as a cornerstone in understanding the state of health by assessing the flow of energy through the body channels alongside the movement and imbalances of the Vayu. Thank you. Yes, sir. According to time movement, pulse, Vata, Pitta, Dosha mentioned, and also Ashwatha tree, mango tree like movement mentioned in this Samhita. सर जैसे जब हवा चल रही होती है तो जैसे अश्वत्थ वो पीपल का पत्ता सिर्फ अपनी ही जगह पे वेव करता है, तो वैसे ही जो वातदोष में हम देखेंगे जैसे लीच और स्नेक लाइक बताया, तो वो मूवमेंट उसके सिमिलर बताने का ट्राई किया है. जी जी सर. सर जो 10 प्रकार की ये वायु बताइए, हाँ, नाग, कूर्म, कृकाल, देवदत्त, धनंजय, इनको भी सर कि अगर ये कहीं बढ़ी हुई है या ऐसा कुछ है तो जो नाड़ी का मूवमेंट रहेगा वो थोड़ा बहुत चेंज हो सकता है, तो उस हिसाब से यहाँ पे इन्होंने 10 वायु बताई है और ये सिद्ध सिद्धांत पद्धति में भी इन 10 वायु को बता रखा है. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Anita. Now I request Dr. Abhishek Mishra for his presentation.
Namaste to all and good afternoon everyone, respected to all the dignitaries on the dais and all the seniors, batchmen and juniors present in the auditorium. Myself, Dr. Abhishek Mishra, is going to present my topic entitled Role of Artificial Intelligence in the Advancement of Manuscript Studies. Let's start with introduction. Traditionally, the analysis of manuscript has involved the manual examination of historical documents to gain insights into their context, content and preservation, and this process has been very much labor intensive and also it requires significant time and effort to study the themes, structures and patterns across the various works. And artificial intelligence in this present era is emerging as a new transformative force in the Ayurveda, which blending the ancient wisdom with the cutting edge technology. And it is also revolutionizing the study of manuscripts by offering the tools for analyzing, interpreting, and comprehending the text in previously inconceivable ways. And this study explores how the AI advancements have contributed us in the digitization of the manuscript and interpretation of it, preservation of it, and also emphasizing its potential to enhance the scholarly research. The need of the hour, various articles are published that how artificial intelligence and machine learning are used in the traditional medical systems, and various portals are developed by Ministry of Ayush, CCRS, and Government of India. But the Ayurvedic manuscripts, which contains the vast knowledge of health, medicine, and holistic well-being. So, however, analyzing them is challenging due to their period or age and language complexity and the use of the traditional scripts. Also, the artificial intelligence has the potential to revolutionize the field of Ayurvedic manuscriptology by the study, preservation, interpretation of the ancient Ayurvedic text and the manuscripts by addressing these challenges. Methods. These studies also employed a literature review of AI applications in the manuscript studies, focusing on the 4 key areas mainly: digitization and preservation of manuscripts, transliteration and translation of manuscripts, textual analysis and interpretation of manuscripts, and also knowledge dissemination and accessibility of the manuscripts. And then also the further more valuable insights were gathered into the obstacles to adopting AI in the manuscript studies. The artificial intelligence, the definition is given by OECD that a machine-based system that can for explicit or implicit the objectives, infers or from the input it receives and how to generate outputs, etc. Then digitization and preservations. How artificial intelligence helps us for digitization or preservations of the manuscripts. Like first, optical character recognition, which will helps us to recognize and digitize the text. And then the image restoration, various manuscripts which we got from various after collection that their image are blurred or some lines are missing. So its help can helps us restore damaged manuscripts. And also cataloging and organizing. Cataloging and preservation of it and analyzing the manuscripts is very much difficult. Like here is one is Saroda Lipi is giving. First we after collection of it for optical character recognition we can use AI any applications. Then in for image restoration, if there is any image is blurred or others is present, then we can use image restoration process. And for cataloging and organizing we can use the AI any AI applications. Then for translation and transliterations, for transliterate the content into the modern scripts, because Indian National Trust for Art and Heritage, Cultural Heritage, they are mentioned that all the manuscripts are mainly Indian language, where Sanskrit language is used in 67% and 25% are Indian language and other is more or less 8%. So it is very much difficult for the foreigners to understand these manuscripts. So transliteration and translation is very much needed, and which is very much difficult due to its for manuscript preservation. That so natural language processing is the procedure which help translators these texts into the modern languages. Then text classification, for we can correct the author, period and subject matter, then create links between the various texts, and also the cross-lingual, like various manuscript is in Sanskrit text, so we when we translate it in then other languages it is very much easy to access for the foreigners. Then this is the searchable databases and AI assisted learning platform should be built up to build an extensive and searchable databases which help us to help us for search any manuscript, and any platform there is categorized which manuscript is related to which one, like which is medicinal, which is Samhita based, and which is Niguntu based. Then challenges to applying for availability of the data, which previously SARS also mentioned that various maximum manuscripts are in personal collection, so availability is very. Then accuracy of transcription, then various languages are used in the manuscript, so transcription is very much difficult. Then various complex terminologies are used, and also the ethical use of and future prospects we can advance our and collaboration with various organizations. And thank you. Conclusion. AI is revolutionizing in Ayurvedic manuscriptology by providing tools for preservation, translation, and knowledge extraction and research integration. Also by making ancient text more accessible and usable, AI not only preserves the cultural heritage but also paves the way for discoveries in traditional medicine and health sciences. And also the ongoing advancement of AI in the manuscriptology holds the potential to expand the scope of upcoming research endeavors. This is the references at the acknowledgement and thank you. Sir, as I mentioned here that as I mentioned in challenges slide, there is various complex terminologies are used so it is very much difficult something when in like Brahmi Lipi. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is very much difficult.
Thank you. So, of course, AI has a lot of promises. One is to realize that it is based on the availability of the data, which is for training.
Yes.
Right? It's easy to say that you use AI. It's actually growing. My question is, how much of data is there? You need really huge amount of data for when you say digitization, right? That needs image processing. What you said.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So, but how much of those are there in the database which can be processed, which can be used as a training set? Because even any other, once you have the training set proper, then for any of the new tests which come in, it becomes easier, right? So, where are we with respect to that? That's one question. Second is, for analyzing, you said that you were going to convert that into the other language because it's in the Sanskrit and other scripts which you want to do. Again, there also you need, and you mentioned about NLG. How much of that you have in the database which can be used?
Sir, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the question. Ma'am, as per data, more than 5 million manuscripts are in, but digitization is not so much more than. Compared to 5 million manuscripts, digitization is not. Yes.
Use an AI tool. AI will give you some answer. To get a reliable result, you need the AI to be trained on a large amount of data.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. For this.
So for that, the digitization you have to do the manually first, which should be there in the database.
Yes.
You use
Yes, ma'am.
that as a training, and then for all the other manuscripts which come in, then that can be used. Those can be automatically used for this. But my question was that, do you have enough of the data?
No, ma'am.
train?
As per now.
Yeah. So
No.
we have
First, digitization is first.
So I think we are not
Yes.
That's what I feel. I might be wrong. Please correct me, those experts here.
Yes.
Wherever you have diacriticals, that adds complexity in terms of reading, so it's not easy as it is being projected here. Yes, so there are a lot of organizations looking at it, including IIITs, but there has not been any kind of meaningful result as yet, but work has initiated.
We should start.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek. Now I call upon the next speaker, Dr. Ashwati. The next speaker, Dr. Divyani Soni.
Good afternoon to all the teachers and all the participants present over here. Myself, Dr. Divani from Banaras Hindu University, research scholar. And my topic is Ayurveda manuscriptology in the context of global health. So these are the content. So Ayurveda, an ancient system of medicine originating in India, is underpinned by a rich tradition of manuscripts that encapsulate its principle, practice, and therapeutic methodologies. To grasp Ayurveda as a comprehensive life science, manuscriptology is crucial. It not only involves the preservation of text but also their critical analysis and interpretation, which are essential for understanding traditional practice and their evaluation over time. The Antiquities and Art Treasure Act 1978 laid down the legal framework for custody of manuscripts, but not even 5% of the available manuscripts in our country have been brought into limelight. National Manuscript Mission study revealed that the fact that more than 20,000 Ayurvedic manuscripts are identified but still unexplored. Collaboration of various Ayurvedic scholars and language like Sanskrit along with many experts in this field should be brought together to accomplish the task for publication of manuscript. Only 2% of medical manuscripts are in printed form, so initiation should be taken up for the conservation, cataloging, critical edition and publication of Ayurvedic manuscript, which will open a new way of further activities in a research area of Ayurveda, including effective clinical researches. Ayurveda manuscripts date back thousands of years and include Charak, Sushrut, Ashtang, Hriday and Sangrah, etc. These texts encapsulate medical knowledge, philosophical insights, and empirical observations. And these knowledge of Ayurveda are documented in the different manuscript forms like palm leaf, birch, bark, tampatra, etc. Data available in Ayurveda textbook are actually derived from manuscript, and this is the classified into 3 dimensions. First one is Tattva and Siddhant, that is unaltered principle described in the primary text. Second one is Shastra, operational rule and laws derived by deletion, addition, and third one is Vyavahar, that is the application. It is helpful for the understanding of the chronological flow of transmission of knowledge in Ayurveda. India is estimated to have over 5 million manuscripts, making it the largest depository of such treasure in the world. As global health challenges grow increasingly complex, so approximately 80% of the world population is estimated to use traditional medicine, in which 170 of the 194 WHO member states that reported using traditional medicine. The government have asked for the WHO support in creating a body of reliable evidence and data on traditional medicine practice and products. These are the number of manuscripts in India. Total number of manuscripts in India in Sanskrit is approximately 67%, and other Indian language 25%, and in Arabic, Persian and Tibetan it about approximately 8%. Indian manuscript available in European countries approximately 60,000, Indian manuscript in South Asia, approximately 1,50,000, and number of manuscript recorded approximately 10 lakhs. This is the National Mission of Manuscript, New Delhi, provide a conservative figure of 7 million manuscript in India, and its database is approximately 3.2 million records. So the importance of Ayurvedic manuscriptology in recent decades, efforts to digitalize and catalog Ayurvedic manuscripts have intensified, it allowing broader access to these individual resources. There are several collaborative projects between libraries, universities and research institutions aimed to create a comprehensive database that facilitate scholarly research and enhance public awareness of Ayurvedic knowledge. The digitalization of manuscript also open avenue for comparative studies with other traditional medicine system globally. Institutions in India and abroad are working to preserve these texts. There are the few libraries where manuscript is preserved. CCR is New Delhi, NIMHANS Hyderabad, NIA Jaipur, Library of Gujarat, Ayurveda University, Central Library Banaras Hindu University, and so on. That the relevance of Ayurveda to global health. There are the three integratives. First one is integrative medicine. Second one is preventive health, and third one is cultural exchange and global collaboration. So first one is integrative medicine, in which contemporary healthcare practices recognize the value of integrative approach that combine conventional and traditional medical practices. Ayurveda perspective emphasizes the balance between body, man and spirit, offering strategy for the prevention and wellness that can complement modern medical treatment. Second one is preventive, is a cornerstone of the Ayurveda. The system advocate for lifestyle that include dietary regulation, seasonal adjustment, mental well-being, aiming to prevent disease, etc. Third one is cultural exchange and global collaboration. Ayurveda practitioners and researchers are engaging with global health organizations to share knowledge, conduct research, and develop integrative health program. This cultural exchange enrich global health course and foster a more inclusive approach to healthcare and also promote a richer understanding of health and healing. These are three challenges in Ayurveda methodology: standardization and regulation, evidence-based research, and third one is education and training. Conclusion. Ayurveda methodology offers invaluable insight into a rich tradition of medical knowledge that has significant relevance in the context of global health. It provides insight into preventive healthcare, personalized treatment approach, and lifestyle modification that align with global health, such as wellness promotion and disease prevention. By preserving ancient texts and exploring their applications, Ayurveda presents opportunities for integrative practice, preventive cares, and cultural exchange. To maximize its potential, continued effort in research, standardization, and education are essential. As the world moves toward a holistic understanding of health, the contribution of Ayurveda can play a pivotal role in shaping the future of healthcare, and it will also explore the past knowledge in the pursuit of current advancement of scientific knowledge for the benefits of future generation. Thank you. सर एक्चुअली मैंने बहुत डिटेल में इसको स्टडी नहीं किया है, बट एक आर्टिकल से मैंने इसको सर्च किया. उसमें ये था कि आप कैसे उसको प्राइमरी स्टेज मतलब तत्व, यानी कि आपने उसको बेसिक कहाँ से शुरू किया, देन उसमें थर्ड वन था व्यवहार, उसके बाद उसको आपने कैसे अपने उसमें इम्प्लीमेंट किया. दैट इज़ द स्टेप्स. नो सर, एज सच डिफरेंस तो नहीं मिला सर. ये
शास्त्रनिष्ठया तस्मात् बहुश्रुतं शास्त्रं बीजानीय चिकित्सकम्. Can we accept this principle?
कर सकते हैं सर. ठीक है, थैंक यू.
Thank you, Dr. Divyani. Now I request Dr. Yash Verma for his presentation.
A very good evening, everyone. Myself Yash Verma. I am a student of second prof from Ayurvedic and Unani Tibia College, and I take a stand in front of you to present my topic, Research in Ayurveda Manuscriptology, a review. And I was guided by my professor, Dr. Shilpa. Now, first of all, we will understand what a manuscript is. Manuscript word is derived from two words, manu and scriptus. The word manu means manually and scriptus means write. So the word manuscript means to write manually. And if we see at the literal definition of a manuscript, any written script that is more than 75 years old can be considered a manuscript which was written manually. And the study of these manuscripts is known as manuscriptology. Now we have different types of manuscripts. As you can see here, Talpatra manuscripts, Bhojpatra manuscripts and Hansipatra manuscripts. These are divided on the basis of material used to make these manuscripts. Talpatra manuscripts are composed of palm leaves. The palm leaves are dried and then boiled to prevent them from rancidity. Bhojpatra manuscripts, we use birch trees, bark of the birch trees to make these Bhojpatra manuscripts. And for Hansipatra manuscripts, we use agru bark, the tree of agru, the bark of agru trees to make these manuscripts. Now let's move on to the steps that are involved in manuscriptology. There are basically two steps, the primary steps and the secondary steps. So the first step in the primary step is the collection of manuscripts. The collection of manuscripts from entire country is most important, so that we prevent any losses of our manuscripts that could have been really beneficial to us. Now second is the conservation of manuscripts. To prevent the manuscripts from getting spoiled or rancid, it is very important to conserve them. So it is also of two types. First is preventive conservation and the second one is curative conservation. Preventive conservation means protecting the manuscripts that can deteriorate in future. We can prevent them from deterioration by laminating them, by keeping them in glass covers. And curative conservation can be is done for the manuscripts that are getting deteriorated. We can prevent them from further deterioration by using lamp black and other materials such as lemongrass oil. These can be used to cure them. And third step is cataloging the manuscripts. The cataloging of manuscripts is very important. Suppose a person wants to study a manuscript on a specific topic. So we have lots and lots of manuscripts. So he'll have to search each and every manuscript for the topic he needs. That is why cataloging is very important. So if the specific topic, we have so many manuscripts, so we catalog them according to the topic they cover. So it becomes easy for the reader to search and find the manuscript he needs. Now let's move on to the secondary steps. The first step is transcription. Transcription means copying exactly what is written in the manuscript. It can also be typed or written on another paper. Then next step is translation of those manuscripts. The translation of those manuscripts is very important, so that each and every person can understand the language. The translation can be done from, suppose we have most of the manuscripts are in Sanskrit language. So to translate them in Hindi and English. It is very important so that each and every person can understand them easily. The next step is the critical edition of the manuscripts. It is the most important step of the manuscriptology. How? Let us understand. Critical edition consists of the editing of the manuscripts and bringing the meaning of the manuscript as close that the author which he meant to for us to understand. Suppose it is also done in two steps, that is lower criticism and higher criticism. So first, if the author lower criticism में क्या होता है, सबसे पहले तो जो ऑथर थे उन्होंने कुछ भी अपना लिख दिया मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट्स में, और हम आज उसे अगर मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट में लिटरली ट्रांसलेट करें तो उसका मतलब हम समझ सकते हैं. लेकिन हायर क्रिटिसिज्म में क्या होता है कि हम उसे और डेप्थ में अकॉर्डिंग टू द टाइम, अकॉर्डिंग टू द काल दैट वाज रिटन, उसके अकॉर्डिंग हम उसे एडिट करें. सो इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस. These are the examples. So first one is the manuscript Chikitsa Sar, that is done the critical. We have done the critical edition, and the second one is the Kairav-gram. Now next step is the publication of the manuscripts. It is very important, but it is very sad that very less manuscripts are published today. So we have to study more and more and publish them as soon as possible. These are some examples of the researches that are going on in the recent years. First is the Ashwini Samhita that was done by Dr. Sri Harsh. Second is the critical edition of Vaidya Jivan by Lolimba Raja by Dr. David Jyoti. Next is Sutra San Sanjeevani. It is also critically edited by Dr. Rivileka. And the Chikitsa Sar and Govinda Desolavasam were also critically edited by separate individuals. Now to conclude my presentation, I would just like to say it is the need of the hour to study and analyze the manuscripts, because the knowledge we have today, it can be increased vastly, because we have only translated and studied only 5% of the manuscripts that are available to us. So if we study more and more, analyze more and more, we can take our science to really high. Thank you.
What is the difference between critical edition and critical analysis?
Yes. सर क्रिटिकल एडिशन में हम जो हमारे पास टेक्स्ट है उसको जो भी वर्ड्स थे हम उसे लैंग्वेज में कन्वर्ट करते हैं आज की डेट के हिसाब से इन द क्रिटिकल एडिशन. बट उसके बाद उसे फिर से एनालाइज, मतलब आज की डेट के हिसाब से, अब जैसे कि अभी सीज़न के अकॉर्डिंग उन्होंने कुछ लिखा ऑथर ने, बट उस टाइम जो सीजन्स चलते थे, आज वो सीजन्स डिफरेंट है. मतलब जैसे जैन और फेब में उस टाइम कुछ और सीज़न हुआ करते थे, अब आज के सीजन्स के हिसाब से वो अलग है. तो उन्हें उस हिसाब से एनालाइज करके आज के टाइम के हिसाब से लिखना, दैट इज़ द एनालिसिस ऑफ द
Now it's my pleasure to introduce our chairperson of the today's event, Professor Dr. Prajapati sir. He is presently working as Vice Chancellor, Dr. S.R. Rajasthan Ayurveda University, Jodhpur, and he was also a former director in charge of All India Institute of Ayurveda, Dean All India Institute of Ayurveda, and also he have more than 24 years of teaching experience. 27 years of teaching experience. Now I request Sir for his insight and concluding remarks.
Thank you, Doctor. Today in this session, there are two plenary keynote speakers, and probably we find that the suitable presentations for the students and teachers is given by Vishwajanini Madam. He is in charge of TKDL, and we know the TKDL since very beginning, and we found it is a very helpful for us, though it is not accessible to us, but anyhow it can be it will be accessible in near future also. But for this traditional science, many patents has been prevented by this TKDL, due to this TKDL in foreign countries. It is a contribution, great contribution for the India by the CSIR and Ministry of Ayush. So thank you, my madam, for giving a nice presentation and very informative to our scholars. And second presentation is given by the Ashit Panjaji from National Institute of Jaipur. And those who have not visited this manuscriptology division, then I request you to go there and visit that division also, because it is a very good, prepared by a very good one. Initially, I don't know that this type of the क्या बोले, उनके अंदर छुपा हुआ था कुछ ऐसा, ये पता नहीं था, लेकिन इन्होंने बहुत मेहनत से उसको प्रिपेयर किया है. और आई हैव विजिटेड 2 times and found every time something is new in that particular lab, manuscriptology lab, and they are doing very good job for the well-being of the traditional science. In the beginning, when we have students like you, manuscript, it is found very difficult till now. We have gone to Telangana, which Sangralaya? I have forgotten. And surprised to see the manuscripts in the quantum of the manuscript. And they are reading line by line, but it is very difficult to interpret it. As Madam told, the material if not available, the quantum of the material is not available, तो AI क्या करेगा उसमें. हमारे लिए वो बहुत ज़रूरी हो गया है, लेकिन बहुत बढ़िया थिंकिंग आप लाए हैं. और क्योंकि प्रिजर्व तो कर सकते हैं, कम से कम हम डिजिटलाइजेशन करके प्रिजर्व तो कर सकते हैं. सो इट इज़ ए वेरी इसेंशियल नाउ इट इज़, बिकॉज आई हैव सीन many manuscripts in very bad condition also. Probably in Jamnagar we have started in 2016 or 17, 2015, 16 में तो यहाँ आ गए थे. So digitalization is very difficult again. Or this is the same condition available in PCIMH also. We have purchased a scanner for that special, but it is very difficult to scan it also. Sometimes paper breaks, so it is found very difficult. Nowadays technology has come to preserve this science. I request all of you to, in your life, please go through one manuscriptology. Take a promise today that in whole life we have touched one manuscriptology and do something. It is a very helpful for all of us in future life also. कि आप अपने सब्जेक्ट की निकालिए केवल, कि जैसे उन्होंने बताया ना कि 10 सिनोनिम 15 सिनोनिम अवेलेबल हैं हमारे, हम सिनोनिम्स में ही घूमते रहते हैं. तो उसको कैसे पढ़ना है, क्या करना है, क्या वहाँ पे सूटेबल है. क्योंकि चरक सुश्रुत भागवत जितनी भी लिखी गई हैं किताबें, उसके जो उसका एक फ्लो होता है लिखने का, तो वो आचार्यों ने कैसे उस समय उस वर्ड को सोच के वहाँ बैठाया है समझ में नहीं आता है, लेकिन उस वर्ड की मीनिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. श्लोक भी पूरे होते हैं, छंद भी पूरे होते हैं, जो साहित्य के हिसाब से लाइनें भी पूरी होती हैं, और वो मीनिंग भी वहाँ निकलती है. तो इट इज़ ए वेरी टीडियस जॉब एट दोज टाइम, एंड दे हैव डन. तो हमारी जिम्मेदारी भी बनती है ना कि हम कम से कम एक मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट ला के कहीं से भी लाएं, आप देखेंगे घरों में पड़ी हुई हैं। अभी बात वही हो रही थी कि जस्ट कंप्यूटर पे हम टाइप कर रहे हैं और प्रिंट का ऑप्शन दिया, वो मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट बन के आ गई सामने। आशीष जी ने बताया, हमने कहा वो भी बात सही है, क्योंकि आजकल तो लिखना बंद हो गया है। आजकल तो हम बोल रहे हैं, खाली बोल रहे हैं, जस्ट बाय टॉकिंग एवरीथिंग इज ऑन द स्क्रीन। तो क्या वो मैन्युस्क्रिप्टोलॉजी है? क्वेश्चन मार्क। मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट में आएगी क्या वो? लेकिन आएगी, क्योंकि किसी न किसी के थॉट्स हैं। दैट थॉट्स आल्सो शुड बी इन पेपर फॉर्म, इन रिकॉर्डेड फॉर्म, so it can be considered as a manuscript near future. So thank you all of you for a nice presentation by the 5 scholars. Probably result आप बोलोगे? अच्छा अच्छा। So all the scholars have presented well their topic and replied well, so I congratulate all the scholars for their nice presentation. It is a very difficult task to come here and say something, so you are, thank you, thank you. Yes, congratulations to you, special claps for you, because you are in the junior most. Thank you, take the initiative.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insight. Now we will move on to the felicitation. I request Professor Dr. Mahesh Vyas, sir, to felicitate our chairperson, Professor Prajapati, sir, with the mementos and certificate. Now I request Professor Prajapati sir to felicitate Dr. Vishwajani Sadgiri ma'am, and also I request Vyas sir to join. I request Dr. Anantram sir also to join. Now I request Professor Mahesh Vyas sir to felicitate Professor Asit Kumar Panja sir with the mementos and certificate. I request our chairperson to distribute the certificates to our participants. First, I request Dr. Anita Chaudhary. Followed by, I request Dr. Abhishek Mishra. I will request Dr. Abhishek Mishra to receive the certificates. Next, Dr. Ashwati. Sorry, Dr. Divyani Soni. Next, Yash Verma to receive the certificates. Now I request Kushi Tyagi to receive the certificates. Now, as a part of conclusion, I request Dr. Nidhi Sharma, ma'am. Okay. Okay. Dr. Diksha. As a part of conclusion, I request Dr. Nidhi Sharma, ma'am, Assistant Professor, for vote of thanks.
Esteemed dignitaries and the participants, as we conclude this insightful session on Ayurveda manuscriptology, I extend my heartful gratitude to all for your valuable contribution. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our chairman, Professor P.K. Prajapati sir, for his inspiring words and the encouragement. And to our keynote speakers, Dr. Vishwajanani madam and Professor Asit Panja sir, thank you so much for sharing your profound knowledge and insight. As we all know that Ayurveda manuscriptology is a very underrated, is considered very underrated, and it's high time that we should all come together to work in this field very passionately. It's a need of the time. So I think both of the keynote speaker has inspired enough that so that we can take up at least one manuscript as our chairman sir has urged us. So thank you so much. And a special thank you to our Dean, Professor Mahesh Vyas sir, All India Institute of Ayurveda, for his unwavering support and guidance throughout in the conduction of session, right from the planning and throughout the conduction of the session. To all the participants and scholars, thank you so much for your encouragement and enthusiasm to make this session a success. Thank you so much. And special thank to Dr. Sharmila Mande ma'am for actively participating in the session also. Ma'am, your presence is really very encouraging for us. Thank you so much. God.
Now I request the coordinators of the session, Dr. Nilay Tachi ma'am and Dr. Nidhi Sharma, and moderator Professor Mahesh Vyas sir, to receive the certificates.
इंटरेस्टेड है तो सब लोग एक एक अगर करेंगे ना और अपने मित्रों को भी बोलिए उनको भी बोलिए कि एक एक मैनस्क्रिप्ट को आप डिजिटाइज करें क्योंकि वो अगर करेंगे ना तो वो डेटाबेस तो हो ही जाएगा ना अगर सब मिलके करेंगे ना इतने आयुर्वेदा इंस्टीट्यूट है सब लोग एक एक करके करें ना एक इंस्टीट्यूट क्यों सब लोग अच्छा प्रिजर्विंग नहीं आप प्रिजर्विंग जो बोल रहे हो मैं उसका डिजिटाइज जो वो अभी जो बोल रहे थे ना एआई का बहुत महत्व है जो ये बोला बहुत अच्छे से ये किया है कहाँ है एआई का ये